Hi everyone. My name is Esther, and I'm going to introduce myself on the next slide. But for this slide, my intro, I was placed in here in Fresno um, to work for District 7. So a little bit about myself. My name is Esther Bautista. I'm a graduating senior, so I will be graduating here next week. Unfortunately, without an actual graduation ceremony. Hopefully, it's postponed. I'll have my bachelor's in political science. My minor is technically in philosophy, but I didn't claim it, so I got all those credits for nothing. Um, I also did an internship in DC through the Maddy Institute. So that's a picture of me on the steps of the Supreme Court, which was a great experience and nice picture. So that's why I added it. So yeah, that's a little bit about myself. I have been at Fresno State all 4 years, luckily, and I've had the pleasure to connect with some amazing professors and learn a lot. So that's me. So in this slide, I'm going to be talking about where I did my internship and who I was paired with. So I completed my internship at Fresno City Hall. This is a really beautiful building in downtown Fresno, and it's where the mayor's office is, the city manager's office, all different kinds of buildings, but those are the ones that I mainly interacted with. And of course, the city council members are there as well. You have the council chamber, so it's really nice. Constituents can go into Fresno City Hall if they want to observe the council meetings. So it feels much more intimate, I would say, in that sense. And the council member that I was paired with is Nelson Esparza. So a little bit about Nelson. He is actually a teacher at Fresno Community College, and he teaches economics. He's very passionate about economics and growing like the business side of Fresno, investing in jobs and things like that. He was raised here in the Central Valley. He earned his master's degree in public policy from UCLA, and he earned his bachelor's from UC Riverside. Um, and so Nelson ran for Fresno City Council recently. He assumed office in 2019, and his term doesn't end until 2023. When as I was completing my internship for Nelson, some of the things that he prioritized was really economic development, like I mentioned before. He'd use this word revitalizing District 7 a lot, and he was very passionate about community outreaching for public safety, interacting, making sure that we're helping the homeless out, and then other things, of course, one of his biggest things was education since he is an econ professor. So those are some of the things about Nelson. I really enjoyed working in his office, and I think it was a very good fit for me because the office was very diverse. And so it was nice, to see that and be a part of that. So on this slide, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the institute that I represented, and that's the Kenneth L. Maddy Institute. This is named after a former senator. He was a 1956 graduate of Fresno State, and he went on to graduate from UCLA School of Law. In 1970 was when he first won his seat in the state assembly, and he stayed in California legislature for 28 years. During his time, he was really well respected, and he was very heavy on bipartisanship. And I think that the Institute does a good job of inspiring our public leadership with both of those principles. And I think that our program coordinator, Mrs. Maria Jeans, does a good job to instill that in us and embed in all of us that you need to work with both sides of the aisle. You need to be respected, and you need to represent yourself in a way that people do have the desire to work with you. So she's an amazing program coordinator. She really runs the Maddy Institute very well, and I can't imagine anybody doing a better job. She's very interactive with us as well, and we all know if we need help, we never, think twice about reaching out to Maria. So very thankful to have her as a mentor and to represent such a prestigious institute. So in this slide, I'm going to talk about the responsibilities that I was actually in charge of and what I was doing on a daily basis in the office. So some of the routine responsibilities that an intern does is update constituents on their casework. So when constituents call and they have a concern, you'd log the information, and every week we'd see what's the update, and we would call them and give them updates. And that's really important because you want to make sure that you establish that connection with the constituent so that they know, okay, this council member cares, and they're reaching out to me, and their staff's reaching out to me, and they care about my concerns. um Things such as answering the phone, transferring them over to staff if needed, faxing, emails, copies. Those are some of the general things, but some of the bigger things that I had to do is create overviews of the council meetings. Before the pandemic, I was doing this in person in the council chambers, which is really cool to see. But you really get the gist of what the priorities for the city of Fresno are and for the council members are. So that's one of the biggest things that I was in charge of. And then community outreach, as far as that goes, I was in charge of creating a list of the schools in the district and coming up with ideas for organizing and events that could be made possible. Research and memos. I wrote a few memos on different organizations and um, giving advice kind of to the council member of the pros and cons if he were to work with such organizations. So, just briefly, those are some of the things that I was able to work on. And yeah.